Welcome to Direct Edition, a podcast about nothing and everything. I'm your host, Dave. You know me. It's the third season. Welcome. I gave you a little taste test of Japan, that first episode of the season, and now I'm coming back with the whole fucking thing. The entire country of Japan is going to be packed into this one podcast. That's right. All, however, tens of millions of people that live there. So what I'm going to show to you today is actually going to be something that was recorded while I was there. It's my near daily journal. I started with good intentions in kind of doing like a video recap of the day after, So like second day, I recorded about the first day and so on and so forth. But it's a vacation, so I couldn't get regimented into doing it every day after a while. But you get pretty much the entire feel for the trip in there. And then the supplements is going to be everything that's on West Coast Davengers. You'll see the hunts, the shopping experiences, the video and all that. There'll be a little bit of clips in this, but this is more just talking about the experience as it happened. And, some of you might find this very interesting. Some of you might not. It's a longer episode, but I really think that this was the best way for me to do it. Without relying just purely on memory. I took a lot of photos, so it helps to look back at that stuff. And this is not the last you're going to hear about Japan on this podcast, but I knew dedicating the first two episodes of this season to it would be worthy of your time and mine. Or maybe not. Thank you also for subscribing. So that means you're hearing this for the first time and you're not being told to listen to this. You're doing this out of your own free will. Without further ado, let's go back to Tokyo. All right, here we are. Japan Trip Manga Quest 2024, Night 1. I landed in Japan around 3 p.m. local time. Had my car waiting for me, picked me up, and my mind is just blown. I don't know what day it is or time. I mean, it's Wednesday, November 20th, 4:29 a.m. That doesn't make any sense. I guess it's 4:29 a.m. in Seattle. I don't really know, but met up with Brian Moss and Sean and Rachel Moss and Sean Quenji, book hunter. Sean, Japan book hunter. And we had some sushi. I had a couple ginger ales, shared some laughs. Manga Quest really begins tomorrow, but I'm just testing out the microphone. And talking in my hotel room. I don't know why I'm talking so low. It's not like I'm being loud, talking regular, but I don't know what the experience is going to be like, but I'm already having a good time. Look at this smile. Anyway, this was a test. Manga Quest begins tomorrow. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Direct Dave Avenger Edition West guy. So this is going to serve as... This will serve for either my podcast or both, but... It is day 3. It's been a bit of kind of like a time mesh. Like it feels like I've been here for like 5 days, but it feels like I got here yesterday when it was like 2 nights ago. But yesterday was exciting. Yesterday I took a walk to a coffee shop in the morning that I really liked. I'm going to tell you the name of it real quick. It is called Lamari Coffee, and it's a coffee window, but they have like a co-working little place you can sit in, like a dining room. I think it also doubles as a restaurant at night, but I realized it was the people who run the coffee shop. It was their house, and it was really cute. I was the only person there. I told the guy that I just, I'm traveling and I need good coffee, and the coffee in the restaurant in the hotel I'm staying at is abysmal. So I'm drinking that just kind of like a morning ritual, and then probably within an hour of me recording this, I'm going to go walk and either find another coffee shop or go back there But it was absolutely amazing. The coffee was very bold. It was a Indonesian coffee, and they had a brownie which was okay. Wasn't that great. It was like kind of had hints of being a brownie taste wise, but it was kind of bland. I haven't had any like baked goods that have blown me away yet, but I had lunch with Sean, Japan Book Hunter, and his employee Brandon yesterday, and I had like some fried chicken in like a almost like a it was almost like a gravy, a white gravy, but there was no sausage, and so that was really good. And I just kind of hung around with him and Brandon yesterday, and Sean showed me a little bit of Koenji, where I'm staying. I'm literally staying across the street from his office. And then, I kind of had nothing to do. I was supposed to meet up with Mossy, but I think he got caught up with work and stuff, creating some art. And so I was about to take a walk at around 5 o'clock to grab coffee. And as I'm walking to go get coffee, my phone just died. Like, not the battery. All service died. And I still hadn't gotten my pocket wireless yet, which I ordered to the hotel, which I have now. But I started freaking out, so I went back up to the room and tried to figure out what was going on. And by the time I just threw caution to the wind, I was going to walk there, the wireless thing was delivered. So now I'm fine. I can get anywhere in the city without worrying that this thing's going to break out. But it's nice because with Google Maps I'm just able to get anywhere, and I'm going to do some heavy exploring from here on out. But I ended up going to Mandarake, and well, you'll see my haul in a second, or you'll see it on the West Coast Davengers channel. But I bought so much stuff, and that was just first stop at one of the big stores. So, and then I had some sushi at the what's that called? Conveyor belt sushi place that I went to the other night with Mossy and his wife Rachel. And then I came back and I bought some Pocky, or whatever these are, these really yummy chocolate sticks. And it was great. My mind's still blown, like walking around the streets here, even at night, just like not even feeling unsafe, but like feeling like I'm in a movie. That's how Tokyo feels to my brain. And maybe it's because I'm, been fascinated with the movies as a kid, but I think it's also because growing up in New York, and Manhattan's not always been the safest place, and you don't walk around there at night in alleyways and stuff unless you're hammered, and then it really doesn't matter. But it's just so it's adorable, and it's amazing. It's beautiful, and it's quiet and it's calm. Like just walking to Nakano Broadway last night at 6:30 or whatever it was, 6 o'clock, and like I'm talking about one of the busier spots in the city. It was quiet. It was real quiet. It's 8 o'clock at night. 8:30, whatever. I'm walking through Tokyo. Not like in a busy area, but just left Nakano Broadway. You can hear a pin drop. How is it possible that a giant city could be so calm? Konnichiwa. It's November 23rd. So I've been here for like 3.5 days. I forgot to do a recap of yesterday, so we'll combine those into 2 days. I am in my hotel, wearing my hotel PJs. Konnichiwa. Sumimasen. And yesterday was a blast. I found a new coffee shop that I wanted to go to. It's got a long name, but it's shortened to just the letter B. And it was hilarious. I walked in and there was a girl wearing a Philadelphia Flyers jersey. And I thought she was American, but it turns out she's French. She didn't know anything about them. She just had it, because it looks cool to her. And it might have been a Simone Gagne jersey, but I'm not 100% sure. I did not see the back of it, but she was wearing number 12. But it was a great day. Yesterday, I got a huge haul of manga. I met up with Brian Moss, who was Eddie's best friend, and he runs the K-Fam channel, and he runs the K-Fam Instagram, and the Power to the Panel channel. That rhymes. And I hit Shibuya, and we went to Mandarake there, it was a great store. It's so hot in these stores, though. Like during the cold weather, even though it was like 50 degrees, they crank up the heat. And so it's super sweaty experience hunting for books and then hauling books. But then we went to the Nintendo store, which was okay. It was kind of way overcrowded. And we had some great ramen at what he said was Eddie's favorite, Ed Pisker's favorite ramen spot. So we had ramen there. Very tasty. And then we closed out the night going to a gallery opening for Jonathan Ratch. He's a rock photographer, and he photographed Nine Inch Nails during the Downward Spiral tour, and so it was cool to see all those photos. I didn't buy a photo print because they were like shipping it and then shipping it again, and I was like, it's too much. But I did get these cool prints. They were the show posters for the event, and they were only 10,000 yen each. So pretty cool. I was unaware that was happening until yesterday, so that was cool to catch that. By the way, Pocky tastes so much better in Japan, the chocolate one. Got to go to a couple went to another coffee spot yesterday called Shark Coffee, so that was fun. Got some cookies and a sticker. And then today I went to Shinjuku. I mean, as much as Shibuya kind of is Times Square, Shinjuku's like a bigger Times Square, and it's just massive. Like, whenever you see that massive crowds of people and Tokyo's crossing the street, it's either in Shibuya or it's Shinjuku. And it was a little too much. I went to the Tower Records there, and I went to the Tower Records yesterday in Shibuya, and the Tower Records in Shibuya was far better than the Shinjuku one. So I didn't buy anything today at all in Shinjuku. And then, today I met up with Brian again and Aki Unagi, who is a translator of manga or translator of English to Japanese or Japanese to English. He's been working in the comic industry for a long time. And we went to the Mandarake at Nakano Broadway. And this time I was a little less disoriented. So it was a huge haul today. And yesterday's haul, I mean, I'm talking pounds and pounds and pounds of books. But I did pick up yesterday a Super Famicom Street Fighter 2, because now I'm buying video games. That's real healthy. And Mandarake at Nakano Mall was pretty impressive, and my hands hurt a lot from carrying these bags because I'm taking the train, but I'm walking a lot. I'm probably walking 3 times as much as I'm taking the train. Because it's a very walkable city. And then tonight, Aki took us to Brian's wife Rachel, to a very local neighborhood sushi spot. And the chef, he studied the same way that Jiro from Jiro Dreams of Sushi studied, the same techniques and all that. And it was an omakase menu. And that meant it was chef's choice. And oh my God, it was unbelievable. It's just literally one of the best meals I've had. And I'm only here 3 nights so far. But I forgot to mention earlier today, I met up with Sean, Japan Book Hunter, senpai. He brought me to one of his, like, these pop-up book, like, weekend bookshops where a bunch of dealers just kind of bring all their books and manga and stuff. And he's like, be warned, like, it's full of savages. And it was like all these 60 and 7-year-old men just like rushing in and picking books out. It was so much fun. You're going to see a lot of footage from that. I can't wait to be talking to y'all, 8 days into this trip or 9 days into this trip. So that's just, I just wanted to give an update. Like I said, this city is absolutely unbelievable. And I don't even know, I don't want to insult it by saying it feels like I'm in a fantasy land, but to a Westerner, to an American, it really does feel like this dream of a place that can be so delightful and I don't know if you want to say perfect, but it can be just such a great place. And I think about how we run our country and it just makes me sad. So anyway, see you in the next one. Arigato gozaimasu. Good morning. It's day 6. So let's talk about day 5. But before we do that, I'm going to tell you about this breakfast I just had. Now, if you're looking for a Western breakfast here in Tokyo, you're most likely not going to find it. You'll find pastries and stuff. But my biggest thing is that I want to, I'm sleeping from like 11 o'clock at night till 4:30 in the morning, and that's it. That's fine, 5.5, 6 hours, whatever. But I want to drink good coffee in the morning. Like I want to start drinking coffee, like have my cup at 7 o'clock or whatever, 7:30. And the problem is not only, it's just no coffee shops open up that early here. So I found one that opens at 8. It's like a 16, 17 minute walk, very quiet and comfortable to sit inside. And I found another one that opens around the same time, but it's like a half-hour walk, but the coffee's great. It's better. So this morning I decided to be a trash human. And everybody talks about how 7-Eleven's coffee is really good. Especially my buddy Jim Mahfood. And I love Jim. Jim's a good guy. He knows good things. Good music, good art. Good movies. Trash movies. This is not good coffee. This is the best of the worst. This is not good coffee. I drink my coffee black, as you most know. And this is like upper bad coffee, like better than Starbucks maybe, black coffee. But this is not good coffee. And then I went to McDonald's because it's right next to my hotel. And I'm like, let me just get a sausage, egg and cheese. No, I never eat McDonald's. Probably haven't eaten McDonald's for 5 years. And probably not more than 3 times in 10 years. It was gross. It was absolutely gross. I will not be doing that again. My friend Lance, who talks about the food here, says I should get a hot dog here, I should go this, I should try that. It's garbage. I don't like shitty food. It's disgusting. I'm old enough to make decisions where I can be like, you know what? I don't want to put that in my body anymore because I don't enjoy it. And look, I'm not the picture of health. I'm probably 30 pounds overweight. Sometimes I smoke to quell the stress and anxiety in my body. But goddamn, I don't want to put this stuff in my body because it makes me not like happy. And you can't get a big ass salad here. You can get like these small salads from 7-Eleven. I had one yesterday. It was good. It was basically spinach with a little like bacon chunks and some kind of vegetable dressing that tasted pretty good, like a sesame dressing. But damn, I get it. Like everybody in Japan is, they're skinny, they're whatever. I will say this: a lot of these people do not look like they're happy or healthy. and I don't know much about, you know, being in Japan and living in Japan, but there's definitely some people who look like they're just perpetually not happy, or they're not like their skin looks really like, you know, like they don't drink enough water or whatever. I don't know. I have good skin. I drink a lot of water because all I drink is water and coffee, and that's it. But yesterday was a lot of fun. I went to Sunshine City Mall because Aki, Ed's friend, Brian's friend, Aki Yanagi, he posted a photo of this Godzilla -1 statue a couple of days ago. And it's this gorgeous, detailed statue, and you know, I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I have been since I was a kid. I just don't follow up with all, like I haven't seen all the Godzilla movies. I've seen 54, 85, Shin, Godzilla -1, and then the American Godzilla movies. And I've probably seen Son of Godzilla and a couple of the other ones when I was younger, because they'd be playing on like TNT, and they'd be playing on certain channels sometimes, and I just leave them on because it's like bunch of bullshit, monsters, you know, then monsters. So I went to the Sunshine City Mall, and it was cool. It's like a 5-story mall, and like, it's interesting because mall culture in America, it's come and gone. You know, I grew up in the 80s and 90s when it was booming and it was fun, and there was a lot of character to the malls. But malls here seem to have no, like, you know, there's some of the same stores, but they're all different, and they're all part of the culture here. The tourist culture and the regular culture. I mean, one floor in Sunshine City was Pokemon and some One Piece stores, but it was mostly Pokemon. It was cool to see, like, people that are into Pokemon, you know, it's a generation or half generation after me, or 5 years or whatever. And I played Pokemon Go for a while during the pandemic and stuff, and before. It's cool to see like how strong it is and how much people love it. Absolutely love it. Like, there's people that are in it just to make money and play the card game or whatever, or the video game, I should say. But people genuinely love it, and it's pretty cool. So it was fun checking that out. And then I went upstairs to the Bandai Namco store where that Godzilla -1 statue. I've never spent more than 2 minutes looking at a statue. I spent 10 minutes looking at the statue, and I did not take part in the gachapon, but there is plenty of time for me to do that. But what was cool was the second part of the day. I went with Sean to an original art auction in the book district in Jibocho, and unfortunately I wasn't allowed to film there because it's a live auction. But it was pretty cool to see that. I mean, he and then I got to see some of Jimbocho, which, oh my god, I'm going to spend so much time there in the next 2 weeks, the book district, because it's just bookstores upon bookstores upon bookstores. And yeah, there was some cool original art. There was some Banksy, but then there was a lot of manga, Tezuka. There was Amazing Toriyama, Dragon Ball piece. Nobody bid on it because it was starting bid was like 73 or 7,200. Shaw won a couple pieces. I bid on a Banksy piece, but I didn't win it. And it was just fun to see. It was very fast paced. So that was really tight to see that. But that was pretty much the day yesterday. I got to see Jimbocho a little bit. We looked at a couple of different stores before they closed. I had some Japanese fast food last night called Moss Burger. And then I had McDonald's this morning. That's the end of that kind of eating for this trip. I just did it once, and now it's done. Got it out of my system. Going back to eating sushi, ramen, whatever else I can. I'm going to try. There's a Thai place near where I'm staying. I bet the Thai food here is a lot. Well, I don't know if it's going to be better, but it should be at least closer to authentic, being that I'm a lot closer to Thailand than when I was in Seattle and Tacoma. This has been a great trip so far, and it's only day 6 or 5 or whatever. So I'm doing these. You're going to hear this, and you're going to enjoy this. Konnichiwa. So here we are, 1 week, day 7. It feels surreal still, and it's great. I don't think I could get tired of the city, or at least I probably wouldn't get tired of it for a while. Things are going great. Sleep is still wonky. I'm going to sleep. I'm like falling asleep at like 10:30, 11 o'clock and waking up at 5 in the morning. But what am I going to do? I can't really fight sleep without doing stupid things, you know? Yesterday was fun. I went back to Shinjuku. Yeah, I went back to Shinjuku to go to the Godzilla store because I didn't realize it was there when I was there the other day. Man, Shinjuku Station is a fucking pain in the ass. It's like, I got to imagine it's like what people experience when they go to Grand Central for the first time, Grand Central Station. It's so confusing. Like, Penn Station's not that confusing because there's really only one main hall for the trains, but yeah, and there's a lot of construction going on at Grand Central. So I mean at Shinjuku. But I went to the Godzilla store, which was just like a kind of like a pop-up store in some bigger store. It was cool. I mean, I once again, I love Godzilla. I've loved Godzilla my whole life. I mean, what's not to love about a giant kaiju lizard that's celebrated? You know, the culture celebrates Godzilla. It's like it's part of Japanese culture. There's statues, museums, pop culture and history in Japan are not separate things. They are one. I mean, you see people when it comes to manga. You see most people on their phone, like young people just reading manga on their phone. Didn't see, I guess because I'm not going on any commuter hour trains, I'm not seeing a lot of people reading physical books, paper, newspapers, manga, but you know, they do sell it and it sells well. Shonen Jump's been around for decades, so there's a market for it and there's a readership for it. But yeah, the Godzilla store was pretty cool. I mean, I spent way too long in there. Like you really should only spend about 20 minutes shopping around, but I looked at everything. Very cool, big Godzilla -1 statue there. I took some photos. I bought a bunch of stuff, some blind box assortment stuff. They had this little like game. It's like a pull tab game, and depending on the letter you pull, you get a free thing. And it was like $5 each, 900 pounds, 900 yen. One of the categories of prizes was posters, and so I got this Shin Godzilla poster, which is pretty big. I'll be shipping that back via Sean. So I did that for a little bit. Then I walked over to the Toho movie theater building, and that is where the hotel is, Prince Hotel or something like that. And that's with that giant Godzilla head that's on like the 14th floor. So I went up there, and unfortunately the cafe and the balcony was closed. So I couldn't really get a good look at, Godzilla and his giant head. I found a spot called Nuatori Coffee. It was about a 32-minute walk, which I love walking. It was a way I haven't walked before since being here. And it was pretty cool because I just happened to look across the street and there was this big inflatable Homer Simpson on my way there. And so I walk over and it's this like 90s American toy store in Koenji. It was packed full of stuff. I took some video and it's I didn't buy anything, but there was comics, there was toys, there was all the property, toys that you would imagine, and then some you would not expect to see, but lots of Marvel, lots of Star Wars, Disney, and the like, and there was actual comics there, monster magazines and stuff. So it was fun to just check that out. And so after that, I kept walking to Niwatori Coffee. And I got there, I passed a really nice temple along the way too. And so I go in, I order a coffee and a little pastry, and I sit down, and I go to sit down, and I see a table kind of against the wall. It's kind of like had a couple of shelves of books, and I noticed they had a stack of zines from A24, and A24, I think they put out a quarterly one, and the one zine that was facing outward was the Iron Claw zine, the movie based on the Von Erich story. But more importantly, inside that zine is a 4-page Jim Rugg comic. And a lot of you know, I own the original art for that comic. And I just thought that was like super serendipitous to be on a trip in Japan, totally inspired by Ed Pisker's Manga Quest, and who's Ed Pisker's, podcast partner, Jim. So I sit down. Coffee was great. Spoke to, I guess he's the owner. God, I can't remember his name. It's similar to Goku, but it's not Goku. He was wearing a Wichita, Kansas sweatshirt, and he went to school in Kansas, and so we talked a little bit. Very nice, very friendly, everybody there. Great coffee. And then he told me that the Sunday, the 8th of December, there is a coffee fest across the street at the temple. And that's the day before I leave. So I'm going to go back down there and drink a bunch of coffee on Sunday the 8th. He said there's even somebody from the States that's going to be there. So, maybe I'll find a new coffee spot somewhere in the States via this coffee fest. So, and then I just had some decent sushi last night. And that was the day. It was a relaxing day. Now today is going to be super relaxation because I booked an additional hotel for a night somewhere in like east of Tokyo, downtown Tokyo, I should say. It's called Sauna Land, and there's a sauna in each room. And I thought it would just be nice to, after 7 days of being cooped up in this small room, take a break, relax. I'll probably go to Akihabara today for the first time and check out some the Mandarake there and do some shopping, and then check into the hotel at like 3 o'clock or whatever. And that'll be that. And I'm still having a blast. I can't wait to show you all the stuff I got. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely at the 2 suitcase limit, so gonna be getting another suitcase, maybe 2 suitcases. Arigato gozaimasu. Hello everybody, welcome back. This is a day 7 recap. Yesterday, I ended up going to Akihabara Mall, or the Mandarake in Akihabara, as well as Super Potato, which is a big vintage video game store. And I mean, I could probably, buy a bunch of vintage video games to flip and Super Famicom. I bought a couple already, but I didn't spend really any big money. So it was fun to look through that. But the thing is I don't know what's rare in the States, and I don't really care. I did buy a gamer guide. I bought an original Famicom Super Mario Brothers 1 game guide, because that's pretty collectible in my eyes. The first Super Mario game, the first game guide to ever come out, which would be here. And then I went to Mandarake, which I guess it's the biggest Mandarake of all of them because it's 7 floors. Even though the floors aren't huge, it's 7 floors. I hit the manga section, the manga comic section, picked up some fun stuff. I picked up a couple of Marvel things. Anyway, I picked up some horror manga too, and some other stuff. And then I headed back to basically take a relaxation day. And that called for me booking a different hotel just for one night. I kept this because this is my base camp for 19 days. But I found a place called Sauna Land in Asakusa, I believe it is, Asakusa. I hope I spelled that right. And it is a small boutique place that is a sauna on the bottom level that's open to the public, private sauna that you have to book. And then there's 2 rooms. They are quite large. They're about 4 times the size of this box that I'm staying in. And each of those 2 rooms have a sauna as well as a cold plunge bath. So it was like super relaxing. I got in and I immediately kind of just sat in the sauna for a little bit, tried to cold plunge, but I'm a big fucking giant wuss. So that didn't last too long. And then I went back in the sauna. And I did a little research to find a place to eat. in the area, and it's a heavy tourist area. So I was trying to go somewhere that was like more local centric. I found a place called Fleur des Sarrasins, or Fleur des Sarrasins. There you go. It is a French-Japanese fusion place that I wouldn't normally think it would be of something that I'd want for dinner, crepes. But you keep reading all these reviews and you keep reading what people are saying. It's all buckwheat, and he stone grounds his own buckwheat every morning, so it's fresh. And so I went in. I was the only person in there. It's more of a later dinner place, and I think I went in kind of early. Small, very small. Maybe 10 counter seats and 2 tables. He was so nice. I did not ask him his name, and I probably should have, but he is the owner. And he spent 5 years in France learning to be a chef there, and brought it back to Japan, and then kind of fused his Japanese culture with it. It was amazing. It was absolutely incredible. He makes his own seaweed butter, and the first crepe I had was the seaweed butter one, but I had a duck tasting. There was 4 different types of ducks. I tried the miso chips and the potato salad. Everything was excellent. I'd say the thing that if I were to pick something I wouldn't have again would be the potato salad, because it just didn't go with what I had. So then like I said, I had the seaweed butter crepe, and then I had a dessert crepe, which was green tea, ice cream, and like a miso chocolate little syrup. And he does ciders there, alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So I ended up having some Fuji apple juice, which really can't get better than the fucking source being, in the place where Fuji apples exist. And it was so good. It just was so good. And then I had I feel like I had one more crepe and I forgot to take a picture of it. And it was the cinnamon apple honey crepe. My God. So if you're in the area, which is Asakusa, you got to check out Fleur des Sarrasins. I would probably go back before I leave. He was so sweet. And then hit the sauna and the cold plunge this morning 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Like, I did a little bit of that, kind of shock your body and all that good stuff. I feel really relaxed. This is day 8, so I'm here 8 days, 7.5 technically. And today I'm going hunting with Sean. We're going to film an episode, and he's going to take me some at least 1 or 2 bookstores, and his employee Brandon's going to film it, and it's going to become an episode. So it's going to be a crash course in manga hunting today again, which is my favorite. I wish, obviously, he works full time and he runs his business, so I'm only able to go hunt with him when I can. So that's it. And we'll come back and I'll recap tomorrow, all right? Wednesday, I went hunting with Sean, Japan book hunter. All his employee Brandon filmed us. And we went, I can't even remember the name of the area, but we went to a couple bookstores. I bought so much stuff. I just keep buying more stuff. It's almost like I forget that I'm gonna have to put it in a suitcase and another suitcase that I haven't bought yet. But the first stop, we went to this store. It's not like a convenience store, but I don't know what kind of store it was. It was a rental place, like a video rental place. And they have these things at a lot of stores here, where it's kind of like there's 5 categories of prizes. It's kind of like pull tabs. If you've ever done pull tabs at a bar, instead the prize is in cash, and you actually win stuff almost every time, because like the low level stuff, the E and the F prizes are kind of like blind box toys or whatever. But I had done a couple of the Godzilla ones at the Godzilla store in downtown Tokyo, or in Tokyo. And, I won a couple posters. It was pretty cool. Like, I love posters, and, I'm going to have to get them home somehow. So it's going to be, sorry, I'm just fixing the lighting here. It's going to have to be in a poster tube, and I'll mail it, but whatever. So we went to the store, and they, Sean was like, oh, sometimes they have some interesting stuff here that's kind of like dead stock. I noticed they had a Across the Spider-Verse pull tab thing. And one of the A prizes was a skate deck. And actually, there was 2 skate decks, but the Spider-Punk one apparently was last year's, so it was just on display. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking play this. I'm gonna win that skateboard. And it's a full-size skate deck. So it was 2 for 1, so I bought 3 tickets, which got me 6. I picked 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then I said to the employee, you pick the last one. And he picked the last one, and we go over to the thing, and my first pull, the one he picked, was the A, and I won the skate deck. So that was fun. We filmed the whole thing, so you'll have either seen it already or you will see it after this comes out. So we went hunting. It was great. That's all got filmed, so that's going to become an episode. And got home that night, and I went to go get sushi at a place called Kiku Sushi, which was like a very local spot, maybe like 10-minute walk for me. And I go in, and there's a couple there eating, and the old lady who's the hostess approached me, and she said a bunch of stuff in Japanese, and I didn't really know what she was saying. I just said one, and she said, like kind of pointed to sit everywhere or anywhere. And then the sushi chef, he spoke a little bit of English and asked me what I want. And I just said either ginger ale or water to drink. And so as I'm sitting there, about 3 minutes later, another guy walks in by himself, doesn't speak any Japanese and doesn't really speak a ton of English. Anyway, he sits one down from me, and they kind of ask him like what he wants to drink. And he doesn't know what they're saying. And I looked over and I said, they want to know what you want to drink. And he said, beer, blah, blah, blah. And then the other couple left. I had ordered the chef, the sushi chef came over with a sign and said, omakase, 7-piece, 7-piece, or 9-piece. I said 9. Same guy next to me ordered the same thing. And so another guy walks in, the other couple left. And he sits down, and he doesn't really speak a ton of Japanese. So it's 3 foreigners in here. And I'm talking to the sushi chef a little bit, and I'm just watching him make sushi because it's great. I'm like 9 inches in front of where, like my face is 9 inches in front of where he's making sushi. So long story short, we find out that the dude next to me, immediately to my left, is from France. And the other dude at the end next to him is from South Africa. And we all got into a really nice conversation. And like when we started talking, the sushi chef opened up a little bit. He knows English, and not terribly too well, but he definitely knows more English than I know Japanese. But he was asking me what, am I just visiting? And told him about what I do. And he's like, oh, have you bought a lot of manga? And I was like, yeah, I went to Mandarake 5 times already. But it's just really cool. The sushi restaurant's been open for 60 years. His mother is the person that opened it. She's 80, and he's a sushi chef. So it's like this amazing family business. Great meal. My only complaint is when you order omakase, you just don't. It's just not enough food. So I went and got a little dessert after. But it was fantastic sushi. Kiku Sushi in Koenji. If you want to check it out, very small. Maybe seats like 10 people at most. So that was Wednesday, and then yesterday I did a live stream on YouTube for West Coast Wednesday, because on Thursday morning here it's Wednesday evening in the States, and in West Coast it's 6 p.m. I streamed it at 9:45, so it was like 5:45 or whatever it was, 4:45. Fuck if I know. And so yesterday, me and Sean, we were at his studio, his office, and shooting videos. And we did a top-down video for the Venom book, and we did a recap of the haul, part 1. And yeah, it was a fun day of just shooting stuff. And then Sean's wife made dinner for her family, Thanksgiving dinner. They don't normally do that anymore because they're in Japan, but because I was here, they were like, oh, come and we're gonna make Thanksgiving dinner. So it was really nice. It was just a nice relaxing day of not running around, and then here we are now. It's been fantastic. And yeah. All right, it's been a couple of days since my last recap. So I'll do the weekend in one because it's Monday, December 2nd, and I need to recap what I did this weekend, which was pretty much exclusively just going to the Japan Comic Art Expo, which was held at the Science and Technology Museum in kind of like the middle of Tokyo, right by where the big park is, where the palace is. And the first day, I went with Brandon, who is Sean, his employee, who does all his editing and basically he's a full-time employee. So I hired Brandon for the day to help shoot, and I got a ton of great art. I had some great conversation with people. I tried to have some conversations with people that, obviously Brandon helped me with, being that he speaks pretty well in Japanese. But it was a really nice experience. I will say, though, getting in was very much similar to anything you're trying to go to in the States. You ask somebody, where do you go to buy tickets? And they tell you to wait on a line. And then you're like, this doesn't make any sense because the tickets are already on sale. Why am I waiting online to buy tickets? So, me being me, I just let's just walk in and buy tickets. So, of course, we did that. But then the VIP experience, which is I bought the VIP ticket just to get in half hour earlier. And they bring you into this room and then smash you in like sardines. And I'm like, oh, VIP, very important person. Now get the hell in there. Anyway, we were laughing about that. But I did get to buy some great art. And if you watch my video from that weekend, you'll see the recap and you'll see my haul because I had Brandon shoot it for me. So that was a fun experience. And then I had my first bagel in Japan and my last bagel in Japan that day. Saw there was a sighting for Comic Tim, but we'll deal with him some other way. And then, that was a lot of fun. Then Saturday night I went to eat at, I think I went to the Thai food place. I don't know. But then yesterday I went back to the art expo with Sean. I walked around with him and it was easy there was a couple artists I wanted to talk to that needed his expertise in the Japanese language, considering he's been here for 21 years. He's fluent. Got another commission. We had a lot of fun. We went to a bookstore where I proceeded to buy more books afterwards. But last night was really cool because I went to I was trying to find a restaurant that would be great for me. And I ended up going to a restaurant called El Pato, which is Spanish for the duck. And it's run by this guy who owns it, chef. His name's Kiki, I think. He studied culinary arts in Los Angeles. He lived there for 7 years. He speaks really good English. And on the menu, they had a Thanksgiving dinner. And, it was a couple days after Thanksgiving. And I went to Sean's for Thanksgiving, his wife, and he cooked for me and had dinner with him and his kids, which was nice. But I didn't have turkey. And I haven't had turkey since I left the States, and I actually really like turkey. And Thanksgiving dinner at the restaurant was a turkey dinner with gravy and mashed potatoes and cranberry, and it was fantastic. It was just great, and I had a great conversation with the guy. And anybody that remotely speaks English in Japan, especially in the service industry, they're actually really inquisitive. They want to have a conversation with you, and I appreciate that because I want to have a conversation here, but the language barrier makes it a little harder. Despite sometimes me not wanting to be around people, I think the fact that I have a podcast and a YouTube channel means I enjoy talking to them. And so we had a really good conversation. He's super nice, and the food was great. He had he had 2 desserts, apple pie and pumpkin pie. And I had pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving, so I went with the apple pie, and it was great. So, this weekend was a lot of fun. Today's Monday. I'm going to be shooting some videos, I think, with Sean and stuff, and probably hanging out with Mossy, if that happens. But this week is my last full week. I am here for exactly 7 more days. In 7 days and 2 hours, I'll be leaving for the airport. So, got to make the most of it. So, I'm not going to do too much recap today. So, I'll see you soon. As of last night, in 2 days, I've been to Nakano Broadway 3 times. And Nakano Broadway is the closest mall, but it has the best of the Mandarake. And, Mandarake is this chain of stores. We don't have anything like it in the United States. because we're not cool. But you can find rare, it's manga, it's toys, it's video games, it's records. It's like everything that people collect in this one giant big store. But Nakano is a very special place because it's a shopping mall, and it's a very traditional like tunnel shopping mall with restaurants and shops on either side. And they're not it's not chain stores. I mean, maybe there's like 5 chain stores. There's like Uniqlo and Muji or whatever, but it's independently owned businesses, whether it's sushi restaurants or luggage or like clothing shops, whatever. But Mandarake is like 4 floors and all these little stalls and stores, and then mixed in between those are like other independently owned stores. And you basically just go up there and you walk around and you spend money because you're having an eyegasm looking at everything. And people from tourists to locals shop there. And so I went 2 days ago. I went twice, once by myself, and then I ended up meeting up with Mossy, Brian, and we went back, and then we had sushi and at the conveyor belt sushi place. And then yesterday I went back to the Godzilla store and bought this Godzilla -1 book that I had my eye on, which is something that isn't sold. I don't know where it is. It's not something that's sold anywhere in the United States for under $200, and it's not going to be translated either. It's a box set, so I haven't even opened it yet. And then I had Egg Slut yesterday, and some of you may have heard that name before. It started in Los Angeles, in downtown Los Angeles, and now they have locations in a couple of places. So it was nice to like finally have like a real American breakfast, because they have real bacon there, not the stuff that the Japanese pass off as bacon, which is it's not even ham. It's like it's bad. It's bad. That's all. Which, fine, I don't need to have bacon all the time, but it is tattooed on my arm, so I do like it. And then I met Illstrips, aka Jordan, last night or yesterday, and we walked around for half the day just shooting the shit and getting to know each other. He's a nice Irish dude who's an artist and part of the kayfabe, King Kayfaber community, so it was nice to finally meet him after seeing his name online for a couple years. And then last night, me and Jordan and Brian went out and back to Nakano, and I bought some more manga, and it's getting really out of hand at this point. and then we had sushi, and it was great, and it was a lot of fun. Then we got some donuts, and I walked something like 7 or 8 miles yesterday. I've been doing an average of 5 to 6, and I think yesterday was maybe even 8 to 10. So got my legs feeling really good, although my feet my feet hurt at the end of the day. So yeah, that's all. So here I am, Sunday, December 8th, and tonight is my last night before I go home. My flight is about 4:50 tomorrow from Haneda Airport. Man, reflecting on this trip's going to take a bit, but I think, obviously, if you haven't been seeing my social media posts, and we haven't talked in a while, life-changing, but not because of like one thing. Life-changing in the way that I just feel like I unlocked a new part of what it means to be a human on this planet, experiencing the culture that I've only seen from afar, never really curious about it as a young person. Like, it's not that I was not interested, but when I was a kid, even probably up into my 20s, like I wasn't really engrossed in Japanese culture. I feel like that comes for people that maybe, if we're looking at it through a pop culture lens, that is, maybe that comes for people that grew up just shortly after me, because mainstream pop culture didn't really blow up for the Japanese stuff until probably I was at, ending high school. And I think about things like anime. I think about things like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, a lot of these things that blew up in the culture worldwide. And I had a lot of friends that are a little bit younger than me, or just a couple friends that are a little bit younger than me that grew up with Pokemon. And it blew up when I was like 17 or 18. So, unless you're a history buff, or like, or maybe a little more cultural from your upbringing, but that wasn't really my house. So I didn't really have an interest in going to Japan. And then I remember when I finally did, or at least I thought about it, I would always say things like, oh, I only want to go if I go with somebody that speaks Japanese, or if I go with somebody that's been there before, because, as a dumb American, or just a general American, you think about the things are predisposed to think like, oh, because it's in Japanese, it's going to be tough to get around. But obviously, things like YouTube and social media changed that a bit, where people were just kind of showing, like, oh, a lot of signs in English, and it's really not, and it's not that hard to get around. Like, it took me 2 to 3 days of taking the train and the subway and stuff to really get the hang of it. And I've got Google Maps, and I got a pocket Wi-Fi, which is a lifesaver. If you are going to Japan, just either rent or buy a pocket Wi-Fi. I rented it for, I think, $80 for my entire trip. And as long as you charge it every night, you've got Wi-Fi. So don't be afraid of that. But that's also not what I'm going to talk about. That's stuff to talk about in the future. The last couple of days have just gone by in a fucking blur. Starting with Friday was Tokyo Comic Con. And I went with Sean, and I went with Brandon, who's Sean's employee, but I hired him for the day because he was on his day off to shoot video for me at the con. And it's great. Brandon, fucking superstar. He shot so much stuff, and hopefully we got a lot of great footage. And so I spent a big portion of the day, or at least a chunk of the day at the con, waiting online for Peach Momoko. But I've grown to love her art, and this might be the only opportunity to meet her until the next time I go back to Japan. So I wanted to buy some art from her. I wanted to get some stuff signed, and I accomplished almost everything with that. I got to see Stan Sakai again. Got to see a couple other artists, and just walk around this giant con. Well, it's not a Comic Con. The artist alley is great. There was, I don't know, 175 artists there, so it's bigger. It's like like a New York, or maybe a mini New York sized artist alley. And the pop culture stuff and the merch, I wasn't really interested in it, especially because the lines were crazy to just go buy stuff. But now that's the third Comic-Con, or the third continent I've experienced a Comic-Con on. Technically I did too, because we went to Brave and Bold. But this trip was a really exploratory trip for me in the way that I wanted it to be. I wanted to walk around Tokyo a lot. I wanted to visit different neighborhoods and obviously hunt books. So Saturday was my last kind of hurrah on buying books. I went a little overboard. I had to buy another suitcase. So now I have 3 check-in bags. I have my book bag, a knapsack, and my carry-on mini suitcase. I'm also shipping a lot of stuff back via Sean. So, cost of doing business, but also cost of going for the first time and literally being on a buying trip. But Saturday I made the most of my day, and I got to check out Godzilla art exhibit in the Parco Museum. And it was small, but it was really cool. It was their 4th installment of this Godzilla exhibit for the Godzilla 70th anniversary. And it was some just beautiful fine art Godzilla stuff, and some, like indie fine art. I don't really know how to describe it. It definitely wasn't like super hoity-toity, So I did that. I went back to the Mandarake in Shibuya and bought more books, this time knowing a little bit more. And then I went to Jimbocho, which is the book district. It's literally the, part of town where all the used bookstores are. God, the Japanese do it so much better than America. And I bought a bunch more stuff, and my hands hurt after that because I'm holding all these bags. So I wrote a very short list of places I wanted to, restaurants and coffee shops I wanted to go to. And the first one I wrote down was an Okinawan restaurant called Dashiben. And I went there last night. It's in Koenji. I've never knew that, because once again, minimal knowledge about Japan and the culture here. I did not realize that, they different regions of cuisine here, and Okinawan food is fantastic, but the vibe in that restaurant was amazing. It was loud because you're like kind of sitting on top of the kitchen at the counter, and it's like very lively. Everybody's just working their asses off. And the funny thing was, I ordered too much food because I thought they were going to be smaller dishes. And so I'm sitting there, and there's a couple next to me, younger couple, and she goes up to go to the bathroom, and he kind of looks over at me, and I knew I could kind of see out of the corner of my eye like he was about to start talking to me. So he looks over and he starts talking. He's like, where in America are you from? And I said, outside of Seattle, Washington. And he's like, his eyes lit up. He's like, I had a friend that lives there and works there, and he wants me to come over. So we're just doing some small talk, but then he had said something about his birthday, and he was celebrating his birthday. I was like, when's your birthday? He said, November 19th. I'm like, that's really funny. And he said something before he even got to say anything, he's like, yeah, and my dad's birthday's the week before, so it was a busy month, and I didn't really get to celebrate the way I wanted to. I was like, that's fucking wild. He's like, what? My birthday's November 12th, and my dad's birthday is November 19th, and his fucking jaw dropped. So him and my dad have the same birthday, and his dad and I have the same birthday, and it's like, what are the fucking chances of that? So it was just nice talking to him. And then when his girlfriend came back, they were speaking Japanese, and he told her that, and she was like, and she looked over at me with this big smile. It's like, yeah, those small coincidences really make cool memories. Tonight, me and Sean went to Shibuya to Billiken Gallery because Kago Shintaro was doing an art opening, or he did the art opening last night, but tonight he was doing portraits, and you get your portrait drawn by Kago Shintaro, who's an outstanding artist. He's known in a lot of the world, including America, but he's a illustrator, a painter, and then also he's got a prolific career as a mangaka, but he's mostly known in the States as an illustrator, and I think also in France and the UK mostly as a painter and illustrator. He was doing portraits, and he's a horror artist. And so I'll flash it on the screen, or you'll see it or whatever. And he did a portrait of me as the final kind of monster from The Thing. Well, actually, the Wilford Brimley head with the eyes upside down and the legs and all that. And it came out great. And then I ended up buying an original painting. I spent a lot of fucking money on this vacation, but it's also a business trip. So, a lot of the stuff that I got is going to be for sale. But what a way to close it out. And then tomorrow I'm just doing some filming with Sean at their office, and then I get on my flight. But to be honest, I've seen the light, and I don't mean because it's fucking blinding me right now. I mean, I've seen the light and why people fall in love with Japan. And I did not see the rest of the country. I stayed to Tokyo, but I'm a city kid through and through. I always have been. So seeing the city before the rest of the country, I think is the way to go for me. And I plan on going to Okinawa and Kyoto and all the other places when I come back, because I think the next trip's going to be a month. I'll do a week of traveling around the country, and then I'll post up at an Airbnb in Koenji, and I'll do what I did. But definitely need to not buy smarter, but maybe buy lighter. I bought a couple of books that were big and heavy hardcovers, and Sean's gonna be shipping a bunch of packages back for me, so it's life-changing experience, and I'm a much happier person that I did this trip. It's just been filled with a lot of great moments, and honestly, I think aside from like one or two not great moments, and nothing worth talking about, nothing crazy, but I don't think I've had such a positive experience in another place. And man, it is just a treat to come here, and it's definitely not somewhere that I think I'll ever end up permanently. Not enough space, but I definitely could see myself being here a quarter of the year if I was able to make it work. I mean, from a comic book selling standpoint, the next trip, I already told Sean, I'm like, we're doing at least one, maybe two sales together where he's going to sell what he sells live on the channel, and I'm going to sell the stuff that I bought here, and then, I'll just pay into whatever the shipping cost is, and we'll split shipping or whatever, however it works. But, we talked tonight at length about how we enjoy both teaming up together and how it's beneficial for both of us. And like, there's no competition. It is literally a mutual battlefield that we're sharing together of slinging books and hunting books. And like, if I was just thinking about just the last 3 years of doing this, it's all I could have ever wanted is to have somebody that I could call a tag team partner. And we got each other's backs, and we benefit from each other's team. But also, it's kind of something I could probably say I've always wanted to be a part of, is some kind of like a person that understands exactly how my brain works, and I understand how his works in the business sense, and how like nurturing that and being allies in that just makes partnership, that bond, that team stronger. Like, we're not trying to infringe on each other's business, but he pointed out, he's like, look, he's like, you brought me onto your channel to sell books. I made a bunch of money. He's like, that brought some customers of mine aware to you, and vice versa. And it's like, we all just want to enjoy this, and it's fun, and it should stay fun. And at the same time, if people are generous enough to give their time to watch us separately or together, and generous enough to make purchases from us and come back, like, there's no stopping the work that we're going to do and how hard we're going to work. Just makes us both want to work that much harder to bring books to people and bring happiness to people and content or whatever it is that you enjoy. And like, man, this is what life should be about, right? Like, working for yourself, helping others, whatever, get what they want, or just give them something to listen to or watch, and providing for customers and ourselves. And man, I'm going to dedicate the next 8 months before I come back to learning more of the language, at least try and get the basics down, and also being able to read. Got to be able to read the spines of these books. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking at covers just to figure out what I'm looking at. And it's so much fun to learn this way through the lens of this medium and this hobby that I love. I bought a lot of stuff, friends. I mean, I'm looking at 2 suitcases that are more books than clothes, and then another one that's probably half and half. And I'm going to enjoy a lot of it. but most of it's going to move on because that's my business, right? Everything else, like I fell in love with the fact that there's so much Godzilla stuff here to look at and admire, whether it's art or, stuff to buy or books or museums, whatever it is. I'm excited. Yeah. And like I said, experiencing the cuisines. I still can't wrap my head around that, like in Koenji, and like place like Jimbocho or some of the other areas in the town, you can walk down a street and you pass like a little alley and you don't smell garbage. You don't think, somebody's gonna come out with a shiny knife. You look down and you're like, oh, there's like 4 restaurants down there. And the fact that you can walk around the streets, and like 90% of the streets you don't have to worry about getting hit by a car, and the people on bikes, even though you think you're gonna get hit by them, they always just somehow to find their way around you. I'd love to be able to communicate with a female here, like it is kind of funny how like the only people that kind of like look at you or like kind of give you weird looks, well, for me, I'm wearing shorts almost the entire time, so everybody's looking at me kind of like, what the fuck is wrong with that white guy? But it's the foreigners. Those are the only people that lock eyes with you and like mean mug you, which I don't mean mug people. I'm pretty sure the last 19 days I've been walking around with a smile on my face, which also probably is like, why is this dude always smiling? Because what do I have to really be not smiling about? I can look at the world and see all the carnage that's going on, or I can just enjoy this place that I'm at and enjoy this life that I have while I have it. And so I'm just head over heels, like really excited about it, about this trip, about being here. I'm sad that I have to leave. I'm sure the jet lag's going to kick me right in the it's going to kick my ass in my face. But that's part of it. You don't get to just go back you don't get to go fly to the future and then go back to the past and not pay with the jet lag. Yeah, because my flight leaves at around 5 p.m. on Monday evening. 9 hours later or so, I arrive at SeaTac Monday morning. Time. It's a flat circle. I'm probably going to keep it to this because there's probably going to be 3. This might be the last of the 3 Japan episodes, or this might be the second. I don't really know what I'm going to do here, but I thought it would be smart to record while everything's kind of fresh in my mind. Yeah, it was just an overall amazing trip. I'm super fortunate that I'm able to come here for as long as I was. I did work my fucking ass off to pull this trip off. I bought a ton of art. You're going to see a ton of videos and all the podcasts and all that stuff. Probably there's going to be Japan content till February, with the exception of whatever I film on OAX. And man, if you can make the trip, you got to give yourself at least 2 weeks. And if you want to hit Manga Quest 2025, I'll be back here next year. You can't hang if you can't hunt all fucking day, baby. Oh yeah. Arigatou gozaimasu. Matinee. Well, thanks for listening to that. I won't keep you too much longer. I just had such a fantastic time there, and I can't wait to go back next year. And I'll have probably a better idea of where I want to go and what I want to do and the experiences I want to have the next time I'm there. Plus the just amazingness of the spontaneity that city offers, and I'm sure the rest of the country will offer. Before we get going, we are in the third season. This is where I ask you to save the clock tower. But before you save the clock tower, please rate this podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, drop a comment down below. Anything that you can do to help share or grow the audience of this podcast is very much appreciated. And that's all. So I'll see you next week. Arigato gozaimasu from Direct Edition. I'm your host, Dave. See you later.